Good evening and welcome. I am Ladi Akiridoluale. Tonight, African leaders agree on 9-point roadmap to revive the Lake Chad as President Buhari raises concerns on the implications of delayed action on the shrinking water. Chief of Air Staff relocates to Maiduguri as search for missing Dapchi schoolgirls intensifies. 12-member committee inaugurated to unravel the circumstances behind the abduction. House of Representatives to investigate alleged missing 10 billion naira at the NHIS office summons the Ministers of Health and Finance as well as the Central Bank Governor. Our British Prime Minister rejects EU's Brexit draft, says proposal threatens the constitutional integrity of the United Kingdom.
And on business news tonight, Cmte Nigeria unveils plans to list $5.23 billion initial public offering on the Nigerian Stock Exchange in July 2018.
On sports news tonight, the International Olympic Committee reinstates Russia's membership status following a clean bill of health at the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics.
And from Abuja, former CBN Deputy Governor Kingsley Moghalu throws his heart in the ring as he announced his intention to contest for the presidency in 2019.
We begin tonight with the submission from the just concluded International Conference on Lake Chad, where participants agreed on the transfer of interbasin water to recharge the lake, which has lost more than 80% of its original volume. This is part of a 9-point roadmap that also recommends global partnership and strengthening of security along the Chad Basin. The high-level session of the conference drew several presidents and heads of government who reiterated the dangers that will befall humanity in the event of the further drying up of the lake. Our correspondent, Ibrahim Adra, reports.
For 4 days, 1,127 participants gather in Abuja to find ways of salvaging the Lake Chad, which is said to have shrunk by over 80%. The negative consequence of this fast-depleting resource is evident in 8 countries of the basin.
Food security has deteriorated, with more than 7 million people in the sub-region facing the threat of famine and 500,000 children suffering from severe malnutrition. The fish varieties are long gone, leaving the fishermen jobless.
A direct fallout of a drying Lake Chad is the insurgency in Nigeria's northeast, which has led to the recent abduction of 110 girls in Dapchi. The United Nations reacts.
This despicable act is a replication of the Chibok girls' tragedy. The United Nations condemns this criminal abduction in the strongest terms.
In all the messages delivered on the last day of the conference, participants stressed the need for collaboration and commitment. Such is needed in seeing to the implementation of an option preferred by this conference.
An interbasin water transfer is not an option, but a necessity. The Trans-Aqua project, which will take water from the right tributaries of River Congo, conveying the water 2,400-kilometer channel to Chari River, is the preferred feasible option.
The cost of doing so is put at $50 billion, the sourcing of which will be facilitated by the African Development Bank. The roadmap includes short, medium and long-term strategies that requires the buy-in and active support of not only affected countries, but other global players. At the end, President Muhammadu Buhari is appointed the chairman of heads of states of the LCBC, a position held before now by Muhammad Yusufu of Niger Republic.
The time to act is now. The time to bail out the region is now. The time to show our humanity is now.
Another round of conference on Lake Chad is scheduled for 2020 in a country yet to be decided.
It is, however, more worthwhile if the days of discussions by technical experts and political leaders here translates into restoring the lake through concrete and measurable steps that must begin now. experts believe if that doesn't happen, then this might just be another talk shop. From the nation's capital, Abuja, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
The federal government has named Rear Admiral Victor Adedipe as the chairman of a 12-man committee to probe the circumstances surrounding the abduction of schoolgirls in Dapchi. The National Security Advisor, retired Major General Babagana Mangunu, says the committee has been given the task to establish the exact number of students abducted, their real identities, and the possible culpability of security operatives in and around the school when the incident occurred. General Mangunu warns members of the committee not to allow anyone influence their assignment, as he encourages them to prefer enduring solutions to the recurring problem of kidnapping and abductions in Nigeria.
There is a need to verify the circumstances surrounding the abduction of these girls from the government girls' secondary school. For the avoidance of doubt, I will quickly re-emphasize that the terms of the reference of the committee are as follows. To determine the circumstances surrounding the abduction of the students from the school on the 18th of February. To determine the exact numbers of persons abducted alongside their identity, as there are conflicting reports in this regard. To confirm the presence, composition, scale and disposition of security emplaced in Dapchi, as well as the school itself before the incident.
Meanwhile, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, has relocated to the Air Force Base in Maiduguri, Borno State. The move is to intensify the search for the 110 students abducted from the Government Girls Science and Technology School in Dapchi, Maiduguri. In a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information of the Nigerian Air Force, Air Vice Marshal Olatokunbo Adesanya, the Chief of Air Staff will oversee air search operations and have first-hand information on happenings in the region. The National Security Advisor, General Babagana Mangunu, has also paid a visit to the Air Force Base to encourage all personnel involved in the search operations. And while the search for the Dapchi missing schoolgirls continues, the Borno State government is investing hugely in the education sector as part of the post-insurgency recovery process. A big fraction of the state's income is set aside for building new schools and upgrading existing ones. At least 40 schools have so far been built or upgraded across all the local government areas of the state.
School-age children who before now only had access to crude teaching methods are the beneficiaries of technology-inclined facilities provided by the Borno State government. With state-of-the-art structures, modern equipment and furniture, highly motivated teachers and equally enthusiastic pupils, Borno is set to take its pride of place. Personally supervising construction works, Governor Kashim Shatima is happy with the quality of completed structures.
We are right now building about 35 mega schools spread across the length and breadth of the state. Along this road alone, just this road, we have 5 mega schools coming up. So we want to create opportunities for at least 200,000 kids to go back to school. And most importantly, we have to look at the grey matter infrastructure. We want to provide 1 meal per day in partnership with the federal government of Nigeria. While there is the will, there is always the way. We are determined, in spite of whatever challenges we have, to add value to our people.
Some of the schools are built with the over 52,000 children who are now orphans as a result of insurgency in the state. Boarding primary schools as well as secondary schools have already been constructed to address the situation. Back in the displaced people's camp, the children are excited when they learn about the new schools built especially for them.
I'm very excited because we are no longer going to live inside the old classes. We are now going to live inside an AC classroom, and it looks beautiful. So I'm happy for that. And I pray that God will continue to guide and protect our governor.
Many residents of the state are convinced that only education is capable of liberating Borno from the setback it has suffered on account of insurgency.
He built a modern facilities in all the affected secondary schools, including those that are not affected, because most of the structures have become obsolete, some are old. So this man put his own effort. He said that education is the weapon. Education is the weapon. This insurgency has crippled our education sector and the economy.
The giant leaps achieved in the education sector by the state government and the renewed thirst for Western education by the children appears to be a mockery of the ideology of the Boko Haram sect.
From Borno to Adamawa State, where the death toll from Tuesday's deadly attack on 4 communities in Demsa local government area has risen to 37. The district head of Gwamba community, Joshua Umaru, confirmed to Channels Television that 5 villages were completely razed down during the attack and property worth millions destroyed.
This is what is left of Gwamba community in Demsa local government area of Adamawa State after the deadly attack by suspected herdsmen that claimed at least 37 lives. Residents of this community have been denied shelter, their houses burnt and food items carted away by the attackers. Anguish is written on their faces. Survivors of the attack blame the military for their late response to their distress call and refusal to engage the attackers.
Had it been we are left to defend ourselves, then we will know we will defend ourselves. But he asked our people to withdraw, that the army will take over. When the army went front, it was immediately they were in front of that area that he told his men not to fire. That was where these guys started setting fire. All these houses were set on fire, and the eyes in the presence of the military guys, because they couldn't fire. They withdrew, and they tell us they are going for reinforcement, which they never do.
But military authorities in the state command confirmed to Channels Television off camera that at least 10 of the attackers were killed, while others in possession of firearms and charms were arrested. Members of the community, however, have different stories to tell on how their village was raided, leaving many of them homeless.
In mass, the approach was towards of us, and then we people here, we come out, we try to push them back, but we put their handles, they beyond our control.
The member of the House Assembly, representative of constituency, made a case not once or twice for policemen, for soldiers to be stationed at the Gwamba end. There was no response. The chairman of the council made request. There was no response. We took the matter to the commissioner of police, and he referred the matter to the brigade. There was no response. So on the day, all our proactive measures came to nothing.
Meanwhile, calm has since returned to the affected communities, and more military and police personnel deployed to strategic positions to protect lives and property.
In part 2, after the break, INEC moves to set standard electoral calendar for Nigeria, fixes dates for general elections in the country for the next 36 years. Please stay with us.